The Chiefs come on a flip pass to Rice, near side, touchdown! Kansas City!
Coming off one of the most dominant performances, at least in the Super Bowl era, the Chiefs now go back to Monday Night Football. This time they'll host the Washington Commanders. Hi everyone, I'm Mitch Holthus along with Matt McMullen. This Washington team, man, they had such expectations, especially after being 12-5 a year ago and being the surprise of the NFC.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're right. They kind of surprised everyone last year with an awesome season. They go to the NFC Championship game. Now, the challenge for teams like that, after a season where maybe you weren't expected to win and you did win, well, now you are expected to win. How do you deal with that? And it's not all the Commanders' fault. They've had a lot of injuries this year. Jaden Daniels has missed some time at quarterback this year. They've been missing their top 3 receivers for multiple games this year. And they just lost Dorrance Armstrong on defense, their top defender, to an ACL injury. He's out for the season. So they've had a lot of adverse situations, now lost 2 games in a row. They're 3-4 on the year. Still very talented though, and it won't be easy for the Chiefs, no matter who's out there.
Well, they went all in too, the offseason. They only had 5 draft picks. They traded picks away. They got over 24 free agents to try to find the next step of taking out the Eagles in the NFC East. But it's really also about the giveaway takeaway ratio here. Last year, they were okay in that category. Now they're -5. They don't have a vast amount of giveaways. They've had given the ball away 8 times, but they only have 3 takeaways. Only the Jets have fewer takeaways than the Commanders in the entire NFL.
And their defense overall has struggled this season. Look at their losses specifically. In those 4 losses, they're allowing an average of 32.5 points per game to the opponent. They've allowed 14 passing plays of 25 or more yards this year, 4th most in the NFL. And overall, they've allowed 95 plays of double-digit yardage, also 4th most in the NFL. And you mentioned only 3 takeaways, only the Jets have fewer. But again, they're talented on defense, just banged up over the course of the year. The Chiefs are coming off a game where they moved right down the field against the Raiders. Their first 4 offensive possessions, they end up with touchdown drives of at least 60 yards. 3 of those were touchdown drives of at least 70 yards. Let's find a way to replicate that offensive performance here against the Commanders on Monday.
And 2 drives were over 90 yards. Like, it's crazy of what the Chiefs did in the game against the Raiders. Now, where are the Commanders dangerous? They can run the ball. They're number 1 in the league after 7 weeks in 10-plus runs. Krosky Merritt's been good for them. But their offensive line, remember they went to go get Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line. They're also had some high draft picks there. Our old friends, Andrew Wiley and Nick Allegretti, are there, although they've kind of moved into more supportive roles. But an okay offensive line when healthy and a running attack. Carolina is the only team that runs up more on 1st and 10 than the Washington Commanders.
Sure, and as we're recording this, we don't know which of the receivers or if even Jaden Daniels is going to be able to play. But regardless, we know Bill Crosby Merritt is going to be out there. And what a player he's been. Kind of a fun story. A 7th-round pick in the draft this year. And he's kind of emerged as their top running back with Austin Eckler out for the season. He's averaging over 5 yards per carry. And if you're looking for ways that this game could go badly for the Chiefs, look at the Commanders and Chargers game just a few weeks ago, where Crosby Merritt goes crazy for 111 yards on just 14 carries. Also scored 2 touchdowns in that game. That was part of a Washington offensive effort that scored 27 unanswered points. Can't let that happen here in this game. And the key to slowing down this Washington offense, particularly with Jaden Daniels, if he does play, we know he'll be dealing with a hamstring injury and a knee injury on his other leg. If he can't be as mobile, Crosby Merritt's going to get the football a lot. You got to shut him down.
Some other areas that get your attention, they're second in red zone offense when they get down there. And then also they're number 1 in the league after kickoffs in field position. So there's enough things there to make the Washington Commanders a worthy opponent for this Monday Night Football game.
Sure, and they can still move the ball. So I was looking into the Commanders thinking maybe their offense had kind of fallen down quite a bit this year. It was the number 5 scoring offense in the NFL last year. Well, they're only number 9 this year in terms of scoring offense, so they're still scoring a lot of points. I mentioned that Chargers game. They scored 27 points in that one. Just a matter of inconsistency, and they haven't topped 25 points in each of their last 2 games. Injuries are a big part of that. But the Chiefs defense is playing some good football right now. Allowed only 3 first downs to the Raiders last week. That was the fewest first downs allowed in a single game, in a regular season game, since 2008. Had been a long time. This Chiefs defense is now the number 3 scoring defense in the NFL. Lead them once again against Washington because these guys have injuries, sure, and they've struggled the last few weeks, but they have talent, particularly if some of their guys are able to play.
When you hold a team like the Chiefs defense did last week against the Raiders, over 35 game minutes without a first down.
Crazy.
It's a pretty good performance. I got a feeling Washington will get some first downs in this game, but you can also say There's no hotter team in the National Football League right now than the Kansas City Chiefs.
How about those